Hi everyone. This is part 4 of making a collage. I've already made the inside with the other classes and the front, and now I'm going to make the back. I've already glued this down and I have all my stuff ready. Let's get started. So I need to look for the picture that I took because I already pre-planned this ahead, so I know exactly what I'm doing, because otherwise it would take me hours. And so this is the way I want the back to look. So this is like my little outline. So then the next thing I have to do, and I did this so I can see, because with collaging it's about layers. So what am I gonna put first? What am I gonna glue down first? And obviously I already messed up because I was supposed to glue the other ones first, but yesterday I glued this one. I wasn't paying attention. So let's move on. So now I'm going to put down these papers that I have of an old dictionary. Oh, actually, it's not even that glued that well. Okay. So I'm gonna get my white paper, because remember I've said this many times. When you are gluing something, you need to glue it on top of a paper, because otherwise everything will mess up. Especially if you try to glue it on top of the work you're actually doing. Don't ever do that. That's like the worst thing, because glue stick is really, really messy. And so I'm going to glue this here. Actually more inside. I'm probably gonna have to add another layer. Sometimes even when you pre-plan things, they don't turn out exactly the way you want them to be. And that's okay, you have to improvise. Okay, so when I'm gluing, I could put the paper on top, remember? And do you see how easy the matte paper came out? Because sometimes the glue stick doesn't glue all that well. You have to press down. And I think the matte paper is so old, that's why it does that. And then you have to kind of press so there's no air bubbles. Then my next one is this way. Okay. So I'm gonna add my glue, and you have to wash your hands constantly because they're gonna get really sticky, and when they get sticky they get dirty, especially in the corners. Add glue. You don't necessarily need to cut the paper, you can also tear it. You can do that too. It doesn't necessarily need to be perfectly cut. Okay. Now the next one is on this side. I'm going to try to. Sometimes it's easier if you put a base coat, like a base layer, so you don't run into all these issues that you have extra pieces showing. If you do something like this, where you just glue stuff at the bottom, like one solid color or textured or like book paper, then any little extra section, it's already covered, so you don't have to worry about it. But remember, when I planned this, I didn't have my book paper, so I couldn't do it. Then the next one is my music sheet note paper. I was trying to think about where I got the music sheet note and the map paper. I wish you could see the map book. It's humongous. It's maybe like the size of this little pink table I have here, and it's like a thick vintage, kind of like burgundy-ish color, like a thick book. I don't even know where I got it. Maybe I purchased it at a yard sale, or I don't know, but I love it. And I've had it probably for like 15 years since I started teaching, 17. And I've always used it, and I feel like paper keeps growing because even though I use it a lot, I still have matte paper. And I give the kids access to all my things, because for me, if I'm going to show you something, if I'm going to tell you, "Oh, I have this leaf," and I'm not going to let you use it, then what's the point of me showing it to you, right? It's like you're giving candy to a little kid, and then you're like, "No, you can't have any." So whenever I show something, I have a lot so the kids can use it. And even throughout the years, the kids have used the matte paper, and I still have a lot. Obviously, if they're gonna if I'm they're gonna use it, they're not gonna throw it away, they're actually gonna use it. Okay, so it's all about layers, like I said. And I love to have different types of paper, different types of textures going on at the same time. And for me, it's important to first put a base, like at the bottom, and that's what I'm doing. Then I'm gonna move on to my next part, which is the Andy Warhol artwork that I found in a magazine. And I think I showed it to you guys, but I cut it in strips. And I love magazines. I'm able to find so many things. And remember, with the other assignment, I was able to find so many things. And because, so now you see I have this gap, I'm gonna try to cover it, because I didn't have all of my resources with me, because a lot of them are at school. I had to use what I had, so I looked for a lot of magazine things. Okay, even these little edges, I'll fix them later. I always go back at the end once I finish everything, because I'm really picky. Like, I go back and I'll fix the little mistakes. I'll maybe put a little border. I want the portfolio to look like it's a piece of artwork, and I don't want anyone to know that I actually used cereal boxes to do it, or there's like a ton of tape everywhere. So now I have that. Now I'm gonna use the other one for the other side. I also always think of symmetry whatever I do to one side, because I feel it's easier for the eye to see that. I don't know, I just always think about that. Or I try to even things out. If I have certain things on one side, I try to add certain things on the other side, so it's even, so it matches. Oh, this isn't enough. I'm gonna have to add more paper. Hold on, let me tear some of my book paper. And with book paper, I don't know, I always try to, you don't need to necessarily cut it, but I don't like to see these empty sections here. And if you put like something solid and you tear it, it's easier to cut. Because if I do this, it's harder for me to cut it. The other way, you're going with the grain of the paper, so it's easier. Okay. I'm gonna have to cut it a little bit. So that's like a little trick for you. Sometimes when you don't glue things down, and then you go back and try to glue them, you realize that you should have added more, you should have left more space. Like right here, I don't know why in the picture, see in my picture it shows that I have enough just with that, and I must have glued this, one direction more than the other. But that's okay. So again, I'm going to cut, glue it, Ms. Gutierrez always gives me the books that the library's not using. And I have like boxes of books that the kids can use. Okay. So now I'm going to have to add more glue because the glue dries up really quickly. Since I did it in the corner, I'm going to do the same thing. And then I realized that I need to fill in a little bit of that section. It's important that you glue it, that you press down so it actually sticks together. And now see, I need to fill in that little gap, but hey, I have some paper here. I'm just gonna do that. Okay. I still need to fix this part here. Now, let me see what else. So now I have to add the words. The words that I found in magazine. So when I was doing the other collage, I wanted to do like a traveling one, but I didn't have enough words that I couldn't find enough of the places that I've been to, but I kept them. So I wanted this side to be about that, to be about traveling, because I miss it. I miss not being able to travel or to plan going somewhere. Remember, it's important to put a piece of paper on top, a clean one. Especially with magazine paper, it's so fragile and so thin, you can tear it so fast. Oh, and then remember I had found this one and I thought it was, I said I was going to use it because that's what everybody keeps saying right now, that we're in this together. You have to be very careful with glue, with the glue stick. It's so messy. So I have it this direction. And when you glue things, oh, I forgot to mention, I have a tough time with straight lines. Like when things meet that are different textures, for whatever reason, I always think that it's harder to see that, because I like to see things flowing, like more organic, and collages are about that. Your eye kind of sees there's so many things to see that if there's like a straight rigid line, I feel like your eye gets stuck there and you're like, what's going on? So whenever I have two lines that meet like this, I always put something on top to kind of erase that line. Like, not erase it, but it'll cover it. And that's where I tend to put things on top of something. Oh, it doesn't have enough. So I always think about that. I look for straight lines that look weird or awkward, that don't necessarily give me that flow that I want in my work. And so I put stuff on top. Even when I'm doing a digital one, especially, I always tell the kids, I don't want to see any straight lines. If you're cutting off like your entire body and all you have is your face from like your shoulders up and there's a line, put something on the bottom, because otherwise you look like you're just floating, and nobody floats like that. Sometimes there's nothing you can do, but if you can fix it, why not? Then, let me see. This thing is not opening up. Now I'm going to put all the words that I found of places that I've been to. I'm going to put adventure first. Let's see. This way. And remember, when you're gluing things, they don't have to all be in the same direction. It's a collage. Make it fun. Then the next one is London, then New York. London is really cute. It's really clean. Everything matches. Everything is red. I might need to add more. Then New York. There's a lot of movement in New York. I've been there twice and I feel like I still haven't seen everything. Riviera Maya, that's where Cancun is. Cancun is just a beach. It's not the whole area. So every beach has a name, and this is a beach next to Cancun. And I'm putting them in different directions. And then Milano, which is Milan. We just went there, passed by with the train, but it looked really nice. We actually didn't get off, but I saw it and I thought about it. Then Italia, which was my favorite place. It's so amazing. If you guys ever have a chance to go, I totally recommend Italy. It's like, I feel like it's a fairy tale, like from another world. When we went to this one small town, and I kept on telling my family, how can this exist and I live in Lincoln Heights? Like, come on. This is like the most amazing thing ever, and I live like, and I drive down to school and all I see is trash everywhere. And I was like, I'm not going to be able to be the same person again after this. And then Paris, I wasn't that impressed. I don't know, people are a little rude in Paris. They're not that nice. And then Rome is amazing. It's like you're traveling to another dimension. You guys should go backpacking now that you're young. And then Venice. Venice is crazy. They don't have streets. It's just water. And Hawaii, I think this is a sticker. I think the entire planet went to Hawaii when we went. And I need to look for more for other places. And then Jatem, which is I love you. So you can pick a theme. Like I wanted this side, one side to be traveling. You can do whatever you want. You can just, there's a bunch of, I love magazines because magazines have phrases and words and quotes that you can just put anywhere. And I have a portfolio that I made a couple of years ago with a bunch of phrases that I found. So I'm going to get my paper, try to glue it down, especially these little parts. They'll come off right away. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm probably gonna tape it because otherwise it's not gonna stay. And so now if I look at my example, did I add everything? Yeah, it's a little off, some little things, but that's fine. Like I could fill something here. I'll look for something. I don't like to see gaps because it kind of like throws me off a little bit. But if I wanted to add something here to erase this line, I could do that. See how it's so close on that one? I must have glued this different, but it's fine. So now I did my back part, my front. I need to work on this middle section that's falling apart. And then the inside, I still need to do this part here. And I don't know if I just want to leave it like that. I'm debating. Okay, so now if you look at it, who's gonna tell you that you used cereal boxes? No one. After I fix it. And that's what I love about making collages, because you can turn something like so plain and ordinary into something great. And for the kids, I mean, you guys are able to put your work inside, and if you take any more art classes, you can. I love making stuff like this. So hopefully this will help you. Remember, try to glue everything. Put a paper on top when you're gluing it. Press down. Make sure that it's glued all the way because it might not glue. And if you just need to make adjustments later, like I right now, what I did, and I realized that there was gonna be a big gap. Just add paper. Add paper. You could add so many things in the assignment. I have 2 lists of all the things you could use that you probably would have never thought about that you can use in a collage. That's why I love collage making, because it's just gluing things on top of each other, and you can glue so many things. Map paper, dictionary paper, book paper, magazines, music sheet notes, stickers. It's just amazing, like a bunch of things that you can add. I'm hoping that, actually I need to fill this in. I'm hoping that you guys are able to use these videos as an inspiration to kind of help you and guide you through putting a collage together, because sometimes it's hard to start thinking about, doing things, or your creativity kind of, you feel like, oh, I'm stuck and I don't know how to do it. But just kind of think, like I've said, think outside of the box and think, what can I use? And then look for those rigid lines and put something on top and layer things. Look through the magazine and get all the things that you like. Okay, hopefully this will help you. By the end of today, you will have 6 videos to look at if you wish, and hopefully they will inspire you to make your portfolio amazing. Okay.